Welcome to GPPMaster Strong and Elite Week 7. Here we go. Last week was a good week again. Cashed in 50% of lineups. I had a really intriguing one out there with Case Keenum, Kenny Britt tandem or stack. Unfortunately, I paired them with some of the wrong guys in the other positions or would have been in for a really, really big payday. That lineup still came in the money, top 5,000 millionaire maker, but not just missed that one being huge. Keenum was owned by under 0.3% of ownership on the millionaire maker last week. So just crazy. We'll talk about one like that this week. Did well with Mariota last week. Did well with Brady last week. Did well with, obviously, Eli OBJ stack. Did well with McCoy, who was obviously off the charts, 37 points. Did well with Christine Michael. Kind of missed the boat on some receivers on this video last week, so hopefully we'll turn that around this week. But GPPMaster across the board and our experts had a really good week last week. I hope you guys are cashing. I hope you guys are winning. I hope you're playing the right kind of lineups, renewing and reviewing the 10 Commandments every week. This week, so we're going to go through quarterbacks first. Until Tom Brady proves otherwise, which is going to happen, maybe this week, you got to have him in at least one lineup. You just have to. He's 7,900. He's the top of DraftKings, but he's possessed, and you got to pair him up and stack him. So I remember a couple weeks ago in the Cleveland game, I stacked him with Bennett and Hogan. That was the right pick. I switched over and stacked him with Gronk in last week, and that was the right pick. So who's it going to be this week? I am going to put him up there with Julian Edelman, his best buddy, who I know at some point here he's going to get the ball 8, 9, 10 times with a couple touchdowns. I like Matt Ryan similarly. The guy's on fire. He's playing at home against San Diego, $7,200. Mohamed Sanu's banged up and may not play in this game, so that's something to keep an eye on. And again, I think at some point Ryan is going to be expensive and probably could be the chalk here this week with Brady. I think the chalk is going to be somewhere between Ryan and Brady, maybe Rivers. But I think, again, I'm going to have a couple lineups with Ryan. 3 quarterbacks that I'm kind of targeting that are unique are, I like Andy Dalton this week. I went to the Patriots game last week. He looked really good. $6,000 on DraftKings. AJ Green's a monster. And I just have a feeling, playing Cleveland, which is where you want to go have your fantasy success. So I'm going to have Andy Dalton in a few different lineups. We'll come back with who the stacks are, but obviously one with AJ Green, that's for sure, with 6,000. I think I'm going to throw out a flyer on Jameis Winston. San Francisco's defense has been better than people think, but they're not very good. They're a bad team. Winston has the ability to run the ball. Winston has the ability to hit Mike Evans for 3 touchdowns. He can have a 4-touchdown, 5-touchdown day between the air and the ground. And with a little bit of a banged-up running back situation out there, too, I think that is actually going to help propel Winston. So I'm going to take a flyer with Winston. And then my crazy one, my Case Keenum for Week 7, is I'm going to have one lineup with Landry Jones and Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. Because this is going to be the cheapest, lowest owned week ever for Antonio Brown with Big Ben out. He dropped from 10,000 to 9,000. Still expensive, crazy. But we don't know much about Landry Jones. But anyone can throw the ball up for Antonio Brown. And I think there'll be a lot of focus on Le'Veon Bell in the shorter passing game. If you hit that, you're going to win big money if you fill in the rest of that well. Kind of like Keenum and Britt last week. Also, having gone to now every 4 Patriots games, the Patriots defense is still just not there yet. Belichick's defenses take time to mature and kind of get it all together and grow. When the Patriots defense is a little bit banged up, and they're actually vulnerable. They're still vulnerable. And it's a big game for the Steelers. Running backs, Atlanta, Coleman, Freeman. Love them both this week, especially with Sanu banged up. Which one you play is challenging, right? So I'm going to play kind of them both. I'm going to put 4 lineups with Freeman, similar 4 lineups with, sorry, we lost that behind me here, but we're going to keep going. 4 lineups with Freeman and 4 lineups with Coleman. If I had to pick one, I'd pick Coleman. I just have a feeling this week Coleman's week to go off, but I like them both. I think you got to give Quiz Rogers some love this week. He looked really good last week. He's going to get the ball 30 plus times, 25 times, and he's not that expensive. I like Gio Bernard. Jeremy Hill's a little banged up. I love Dalton. I'm going to do one stack with Dalton and Bernard because Bernard can deliver through the air. And I know that's a risky bet, quarterback, running back stack, but I like Gio Bernard this week. He looked great against the Patriots. He's playing Cleveland. Everyone's run on Cleveland. And I think Jeremy Hill's banged up, so Gio's getting more than half the carries over there. Like Le'Veon Bell, we just talked about that. How can you not? DeMarco Murray has just been a beast. He had an off week last week, 12 points. I like him coming back this week and kicking it back up. And LaShawn McCoy is almost definitely out on Sunday. He has been unbelievable. But quietly, and I said this last week, his backup, Mike Gillislee, is an explosive back. He had a 40-something yard touchdown last week. He's going to get the ball a lot against Miami. And at $3,000 at a minimum on DraftKings, you got to pay attention to that. Way to go. Wide receiver, A.J. Green stacked with Dalton. Julio stacked with Ryan. Edelman, in this case, as I said, stacked with Brady. On the value side, Marquise Lee. I like him this week. A sneaky, sneaky play. Blake Bortles is playing the Raiders. The Raiders have the 32nd or 31st pass defense. Allen Hurns is banged up and very likely to be out of this game, which makes Marquise Lee suddenly the number 2. He had, I think, 6 receptions on 8 targets last week. He's starting to emerge. He has always been a really touted prospect. So he could throw up 2 touchdowns. Keep an eye on him. It's a flyer. I wouldn't put him in every lineup, but I do like him out there. Inman and Williams. I like both of those guys more than I like Rivers. I'm fading Rivers a little bit at Atlanta. I think Atlanta's defense is better than build. Now the lights are going out on me. All right, we're going to finish this in the dark, baby. So I like Inman and Williams. Both are cheap. Travis Benjamin is banged up. So those guys are going to get a ton of targets alongside the 2 tight ends over there. And I like my Mike Evans in the San Francisco game. He's just been awesome. So I'm going to have some exposure to Mike Evans. And, of course, as I said, the Antonio Brown, Landry Jones, one lineup, tandem. Tight end, I like 3 guys. I like Delaney Walker. I think Mariotta's going to go to him often. I like Travis Kelce against the Saints. Same thing. Kansas City tends to throw to their tight end. And this is going to be should be an easy toss game for Alex Smith. And I like both Henry and Gates for the Chargers. Atlanta has not been good against tight ends. Terrible. And while Henry has been the hot hand, really putting up some great numbers, Gates is now healthy. He's not on the injury report, and he's $2,800. So if you want to save some money, you go Gates instead of Henry. Hope it works out and gives you a little bit more power at the receiver position. Defense, I'm going to play the Eagles against Sam Bradford. I don't love anything. Obviously, Denver is a good defense at home this weekend. I mean, they should just eat alive Brock Osweiler. But they're expensive, and they're on a Thursday night slate. I'm sorry, they're on a night slate, so they're not in the Monday night slate, so they're not in the DraftKings Millionaire Maker. So I like the Eagles. I like maybe the Dolphins a little bit. Just have a feeling the Bills are going to struggle without McCoy, without Watkins. This may be, Dolphins defense is better up front than they've been playing, and actually put up decent fantasy numbers. Hope everyone does well. Sorry this video was dark and long, and technology's failing everywhere behind me. But also, if you want to ever email me, amiller@footballnation.com if you're a member with any questions, and bring home the money this week. I'm pretty confident.